Now, from the ReliefFactor.com studios, here's Mike Gallagher.
It's being described as the darkest chapter in modern Israeli history. I think that's safe to say is the biggest loss of life since the Holocaust in one fell swoop. The death count now, I think, exceeding 1,500. Sources are saying Hamas is preventing civilians from leaving their homes. You know, when the pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas crowd screams about Gaza being a giant prison, yeah, that's because the warden is Hamas. Hamas has made it a prison. Gaza on the Mediterranean Sea could be a paradise. They could turn, with all the billions of dollars that have been given to that troubled part of the world, do you know what Gaza could look like? But Hamas, of course, won't allow that. They build tunnels, they collect weapons, and they want their people to be kept in a cesspool. It's horrific. With all this bad news, with all of this anxiety on this so-called day of rage and this day of global jihad, the good news is that America is loving and giving and willing to help Israel because we stand with Israel. Nothing better exemplifies the way I'm feeling right now than the little flag pin that I'm wearing over my heart. If you're watching on Salem News Channel, I've got one of those American flag and Israeli flag lapel pins on. We've seen a lot. I saw some Israeli flags yesterday on some front yards in the Tampa Bay area. Be nice to see at least as many flags supporting Israel as we've seen flags supporting Ukraine, huh? Don't you think? Yesterday, I told you I was going to reveal a number that at least I hoped I was going to be able to reveal a number in our International Fellowship of Christians and Jews campaign. As you know, Saturday when all this blew up, I was traveling and I got on the phone. I said, let's partner with somebody that can get aid to these poor victims of the Hamas massacre. And the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews stood up. And here we are now. I prayed that I would be able to tell you today that you've donated over $100,000. You want to know what you've donated through today? $100,396. If that isn't a God thing, I don't know what is. So thank you, bless you, keep it coming. Let's keep the momentum going because you can help Israel in its darkest hour. Go to MikeOnline.com, click on the Israel at War banner. And incidentally, in the past, we've gotten a lot of help with, I've auctioned off hours, $5,000 to co-host the show and $25,000 here. And these are all individual donations. There's no, special, hidden or not hidden, but subtle big donors. These are all individual donors. And I am so proud of this audience. Thank you for making me so joyfully proud to get to do what I do for a living every day in this studio. If you want to help Israel, go to MikeOnline.com. Let's see how high this number can go as we continue to assist those victims of Hamas. Go to MikeOnline.com, click on the Israel at War banner to make an emergency donation, or you can phone in your donation to 800-845-8844, 800-845-8844. And thank you for your big heart. Nobody does it like this audience. Nobody. Incidentally, somebody just texted from Michigan. How can we see what you're wearing? Hey, snc.tv. Download the Salem News Channel app. We are the antidote to the mainstream media. We're going to have full debate coverage coming up in a couple of weeks. Looks like I'm going to be in Miami broadcasting from the GOP debate. We'll have a lot of Salem News Channel coverage. You can be sure Andrew Wilkow with pre-debate coverage. I'll anchor post-debate coverage from Miami. Stay tuned for all the details about the upcoming presidential debate in November among the Republican candidates. And I can't wait to bring it all to you on Salem News Channel, snc.tv, or just go to MikeOnline.com and find out how you can download or just download the Salem News Channel app wherever you are. Speaking of the GOP, Let's talk a little bit about what's happening on Capitol Hill. Let's bring it back here closer to home for a little bit. Steve Scalise, the congressman from Louisiana. This is the guy who survived the assassination attempt by a Bernie Sanders supporter on that baseball field a number of years ago. He almost died, was shot. And now he's battling cancer. And he emerged as the front runner this week, which shocked me, to replace Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. And I admit, I was surprised. I didn't think Steve Scalise was going to get the votes. Well, evidently he didn't, because he dropped out. Here was his announcement yesterday. Last night, Washington, D.C., here is Congressman Steve Scalise.
I just shared with my colleagues that I'm withdrawing my name as a candidate for the Speaker designee. If you look at over the last few weeks, if you look at where our conference is, there's still work to be done. Our conference still has to come together and is not there. There are still some people that have their own agendas, and I was very clear. We have to have everybody put their agendas on the side and focus on what this country needs. This country is counting on us to come back together. This House of Representatives needs a speaker, and we need to open up the House again.
He's right. He's absolutely right. Now, listen, I have not trashed those who voted against Kevin McCarthy the way some have. But right now, I mean, I get it. I understand people are frustrated. They want action. They don't want aid to Ukraine. I mean, I disagreed with removing Kevin McCarthy. I think it was a bad move. I think the timing was terrible. But I also didn't like hearing the way people who opposed Kevin McCarthy were denounced, because, frankly, those 8 Republicans reflected the will of a lot of constituents. A lot of Americans are dissatisfied with the leadership on Capitol Hill. And we have to respect that. We have to listen to that. And this conference has got to get together. If we're not unified over this, how are we going to be unified in 2024? Here was Brett Baer last night on Fox News Channel talking about how difficult it's going to be to get a new speaker elected.
Let's talk about this hunt for a speaker. I've talked to a lot of people up there, private conversations on background. A number of them told me crazy things, saying that probably Jesus of Nazareth could not get 217 votes right now.
It's a good line, but it's absolutely true. It looks like it's going to be hard for anybody. Are they going to coalesce behind Jim Jordan? That's my pick. I hope Congressman Jim Jordan winds up. If we wound up with Jim Jordan as Speaker of the House, boy, we're in a pretty good position for 2024. But they got to make a decision here. Here was Kevin McCarthy, who some people are actually saying, oh, I hope he comes back. That ship has sailed. If you think those 8 Republicans are suddenly going to change their mind and support Kevin McCarthy, I'll have what you're having, because you're in la-la land. Here was Brett Baer talking to former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy last night on Fox News Channel's special report.
Can you absolutely rule out being drafted to go back at it?
Look, whatever is
I know
decided.
You say let the conference decide, but here you are. Listen, if you've been on TV a lot, you've been on Fox 6 times since Saturday. Mm-hmm. Are you still in the game here? Is that why?
Look, one thing I've always told America, I'm never going to give up on them. So whether I'm Speaker or still a member of Congress, I have an ability to lead and say and do things, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to help the American public to do what is right and try to get this Congress in the right direction.
So he didn't rule it out. Of course he didn't. I mean, he's I'm sure livid at being removed as Speaker of the House. Now, we've spent all week on Israel, and of course it is a raging issue. Trying to recover the hostages in Gaza is a high priority. The FBI is on high alert here in the United States, this supposed day of rage and protesters and all that. But I want to turn to you and find out what you make of this whole mess in the House of Representatives. 1-800-655-MIKE is the PhD weight loss and nutrition phone number. Seems to me it is absolutely time for them to get their act together on Capitol Hill. Do you like Jim Jordan? Do you honestly think that there's a chance that Kevin McCarthy comes back?